Okay, I'm going to fill you in on where I'm at with Winter's Victory. Um, I, I'm about to try my first turn, and to get to this point, um, I didn't just have to get through the rule set, although I'm still kind of working my way through. Um, but getting this scenario set up, and probably the other scenarios as well, will be the same. Um, it takes a bit to get everybody into position. That's the first order of business. And making sure you've sorted well enough so that you can um, get to the right core. I may change the way that I sort my artillery, because the artillery has to have a matching, let's show here, for instance, this horse artillery unit. It has to have and it's, can you read that? Yermolov, second Yermolov in the 7th Corps, 7th Division, really. For Russian side, they go by divisions. And then there's this matching artillery crew. So you have to make sure that you have those easily accessible. Generally, I'd just put the artillery crews, the matching artillery crews, with the artillery counters themselves that represent the guns. So that would take care of that issue. Another thing you have to do in this scenario is get the French reinforcements. There are no there's some optional reinforcements for the Russian side, but as you can see, lined up on the turn record track, there's a slew of reinforcements coming in from the French as they start to engage the rear guard of the Russian / allies in front of Eylau, which you could see there. There's the town. So that's the first step. Then the next step is to, which I actually end up doing last, and I'd caution you as you do the setups for the scenarios that you read the intro to the scenarios very carefully, because I missed this part right here, the Russian gun loss table. And essentially every scenario that you do in this game, you have to roll for guns lost for each artillery unit prior to the start. And you simply roll one die, and wherever you land, horse artillery is a little bit less affected by this. It's a -1. But if you roll, say, a 7 on regular artillery, you have to remove 3 guns. So if there were 8 guns, you'd have 5 left, or let's say 9 guns, and you'd have 6 left. And then the artillery crew, let's do a better example here. I had one that was reduced. I can't remember where he is. Here, this one was a bad roll. I lost 4 guns on this artillery. Oops. Let's see if you can see that. I lost 4 guns, so there's only 2 left. I put a 2 counter under it, and then the original crew was a 2, 5, and then it flips over because you only have 2 guns left. You only have one point of crew left. Whoops. So that shows you how you reduce your crew size when you lose guns on artillery. Okay, and then the next thing you have to do, I mean, can be any order, but you have to make sure you mark the units on the Russian side that have either delayed entry or triggered entry, depending on how close the French brigade gets to them. I'm not going to go into detail about the differences between the 2-3 markers. And then you have to make sure that you outline. You see these little discs. The yellow discs outline the secondary line of attack, and this secondary goal, I guess you could say, for the French. And then the little tile markers, these white, you see right here, outline the primary. There's one there, and that's part of the victory conditions. So as the French come in this way and they push the Russians past that initial line, and then the second they'll get more victory points for getting past the outer line here. There's also victory points for losses on each side. Read the victory conditions carefully, because there's a lot to them. It's not simply losses and you get to a certain geographical point and you get 5 points for that. It's a little more complex than that. In fact, I will tell you right now, I had to take a minute after reading the rules, looking at the command rules on my first go around, and kind of throwing my hands in the air, and coming back to it a second time, then realizing that there are no weather rules on this first scenario, and there's a lot less command rules. You don't use the full set of command rules on this first scenario. So I was almost going to put it away after setting it up and getting frustrated. And then I thought better of it, and I'm just going to start moving some counters around, which sometimes is the best thing you can do, even though you might not be playing it very well. So I'll move some things around and then update as far as what I found is what the fire combat is like, and what charges are like. Charge rules are pretty detailed and encompass a few ideas that I haven't seen before. They look kind of cool, but it's going to take a little bit to grok. So some of you out there maybe are trying to jump into this and do a better job of getting it learned than I have, at least initially. I'm going to give this game the benefit of the doubt because it looks so great. So I think it's going to take several plays before it really gets at all comfortable. And I would say one good thing about this first scenario is that the command rules are, you don't have to understand all of the details in the command rules, because there's like 4 pages, maybe more. The problem I have with it, though, is I'm trying to figure out how much of the command rules you actually have to use. and what I'm limited to. So we'll see. But I'm just going to start moving, and the Russians can't move on the first. They can turn and they can fire, but they can't move on the first turn. So that'll simplify things as well. All right, we'll see where this goes. If you stay with me, great. if you don't, that's great too, because I'm not sure if I'm going to stay with it. I'm going to give it my best shot though. Thanks. We'll see you later.